This was Schmidt Electric Band in a piece titled You and the Night and the City, recorded live at the Music Art Gallery in Chorzów in Poland. Chorzów happens to be a city next to Katowice in south of Poland. Hello everybody. Welcome to the new episode of the Kosciuszko Foundation online concert series, Quarantine Jazz. My name is Leszek Strzelecki and I'm happy to be your host. Our guest today is a jazz trumpeter, composer, arranger, music producer, and a publisher, band leader, also a lecturer with a doctoral degree in the Music Academy in Katowice. Piotr Schmidt. Piotr, welcome to the program.
Hello everybody. Hello Leszek. Yes, so this was what we've seen was my electric group, which is called Schmidt Electric. We play some modern jazz mixed with some drum and bass fusion, some electrical kind of stuff. So this is basically a group that I established in 2011, and we issued 3 CDs, 3 albums altogether, and we are playing all over Poland quite frequently. And even though I didn't issue anything fresh since 2017 with this band, because I was busy with other groups of mine and issuing other albums. Basically every year is a new album, but still this group Schmidt Electric is really one of my favorite groups, and I really enjoy playing it. It's absolutely totally different than anything else I play, and very often we feature stars of guitar or saxophone, and this time we actually featured as well in this gallery that we've seen it right now. Couple of tunes later, we featured a very famous Polish hip-hop artist, so it was quite interesting.
And I was going to say the opening remarks that this particular selection was very deliberate, at least on my part. You gave me, of course, the host of choices to select from, but this one is an opening precisely because you, in this piece of music, you mixed the whole host of various styles, mainstream jazz, but also hip hop, rock, elements of fusion, you name it. And to me, that was very entertaining. Contrary to conventional wisdom these days, at least in my opinion, jazz is not a closed-bordered, rigid-style music addressed to a narrow elitist group of hard-nosed Mason-like music nerds. Quite the opposite is the case. Jazz is a music practiced with love and passion, and is addressed to everybody who wants to listen and has a little bit of imagination to immerse into this. This is a very beautiful music. I love it. Now, I'm glad to hear, you're welcome. I'm glad to hear you didn't quit this electric jazz direction in your artistic endeavor. You also you continue to practicing this, and hopefully we will see some new recordings in the near future. Now, going to next, reviewing your discography in the recent years. You have the most current 4 titles are Successful, spelled interesting as S-A-X, as saxophone, and that's volume 2. Prior to that, late 2020 was a Dark Forecast album. Previous to that, tribute to Tomasz Stanko, and everybody I hope knows who Tomasz Stanko was. And again, Successful, but volume 1 original edition, and that was in 2017, I believe.
18,
18. Okay. Now, that is your acoustic quartet consisting of pianist Wojciech Niedziela, Maciej Garbowski on bass, and Krzysztof Gradziuk on drums. And of course, there was a host of special guests on successful that seemed to me like a special tribute to both history of jazz and the Polish jazz department of saxophone. And I would like you please to elaborate on the concept of this successful. But let's listen to one example from that recording, and that is on the sunny side of the street, right? That
Yes,
would be a
with
good
Jan
representation. So
Staszem
let's listen to this.
On the doorstep, just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. Can you hear a pitter-pat? And that happy tune is your step. Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade with those blues on parade, but I'm not afraid. This rover crossed over. If I never have a cent, I'll be rich as Rockefeller. Gold dust at my feet on the sunny side of the street. Wah, 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 wah.
Krzysztof Gradziuk, Maciej Garbowski, Wojciech Niedziela, Wojciech Myrczek, Henryk Miśkiewicz, Grzech Piotrowski, Maciej Sikała, Adam Wendt i Jan Ptaszyn-Wróblewski. Bardzo dziękujemy serdecznie.
Explain the concept of successful, please.
Yes, well, successful was my own like not a birthday present, but 10-year being a professional musician anniversary gift. I decided to raise money to gather the most successful, well-known, the greatest Polish saxophone players on one album. But then an afterthought came to me, and I realized that inviting the greatest Polish saxophone players to the studio just to record one song with them each would be a waste of their energy and time. So I decided to record with them 2 songs with every each of them, and that is why at first thinking about one album, after all we recorded the material for 2 albums. This is also this is also these albums. Both of these albums are also different from my regular albums because we have jazz standards over there, and I usually have my own tunes, and these jazz standards are something exceptional. But I believe every decent jazz musician should sometimes record a jazz standard. So these two albums are full of jazz standards. In other 13 basic no, I have altogether 13 albums right now, but in other 11 I have mostly my own music, sometimes Krzysztof Komeda tunes on 2 albums, but basically my own music. So this is what it is different. So we have stars of Polish saxophone, jazz saxophone, and we have jazz standards on both of these albums. So the first one was issued straight after recording, which is on September 2019, and the second one was issued just recently on the 28th of July this year, 2021. Yeah, that's pretty much it. we just I did a couple of arrangements, not every tune, of course, because some tunes are just the best in their original way, original shape. But to other tunes I did some arrangements, and we just met in the studio with no rehearsal. We just talked about it, what we want to record, how it should be, and yeah, let's play. And this is the album. Well, this is basically my approach to recording albums recently, maybe except of the Schmidt Electric project, which requires more production work. But all the acoustic works that I do together with Tribute to Tomasz Stańko, Dark Forecast, also the Dark Morning with Wojciech Niedziela in duo, that was 2017. But all these acoustic albums are basically straight ahead recordings, very often in one big place in the studio. So we just go for it, we just record it without doing too much rehearsals. Basically, usually we don't do any rehearsals. If we cannot play the tune at the first time, well, we just do the second take and there it is. So this is the approach I prefer in the acoustic jazz. It gives more freshness, I don't know the word, but basically it's more fresh material. It's give more interaction between musicians. The music is really better in my opinion.
Now, successful, both albums, first and the latest, volume 2, are clearly tribute to both the whole history or tradition of jazz because of the selection of compositions, American standards, almost all of them, and also simultaneously tribute to Polish jazz and its accomplishments, and that is the presence of all those saxophone players. Now, the Dark Forecast, which I believe is the chronologically the most recent recording of yours, but released prior to Successful 2, that is a different story. That is a tribute, at least partially, but except for 2 compositions by Krzysztof Komeda, these are either your compositions or of the members of the quartet. And I think to illustrate, and that is a question I wanted to ask you, but let's first listen to opening tune from that Dark Forecast album that happens to be a ballad from the Roman Polanski film Knife in the Water. This composition opens the album, and to my knowledge and experience, this is not typical. Usually, the first tune on the jazz recording happens to be lively, energetic, even aggressive. And this one is, as we could hear, very, I'm looking for a right word. It's not sentimental, but it's very reflective and slow and delicate, immerses you in the climate of the music. Is there that was deliberate, but can you explain that and tell us a little bit more about your concept of this album?
Yeah, basically in this album is like 6 my compositions, 3 compositions that we improvised in the studio. This is still something that I started in the on the Tribute to Tomasz Stańko album, where most of the music was improvised. With the right musicians, this is a very good way to go. To create something different, to create something unique and really something else than you can predict by composing something at home. So this makes the music very unique and very special. So this music that we have here, and together with the 2 compositions of Krzysztof Komeda, it's not maybe so-called happy jazz, like super happy, positive emotions only. I try to mix it with some more calm music, more sensitive music, more spiritual music, which I really like to listen to myself, because that kind of music can bring you more to your deeper thoughts and to your soul and to your emotions. This is something I really seek in the music myself, and maybe it is why I create that kind of music. Especially in this album, you can hear it because on successful both volume 1 and volume 2, maybe there is just a little bit more so-called happy jazz, which are jazz standards, which very often are very positive, and gives you this positive music, which is really cool, which is really nice. But when you want to feel something deeper, something more, you want something else in the music as well, those deeper emotions.
People can contemplate, listen attentively, and relate themselves. At least that's the feeling I'm having myself listening to this album. And let's listen to another piece of another recording from that album that will be considerably different in climate, in the mood, but on the other hand, I think there's clearly a common denominator in this recording, both Ballad from the Knife in the Water and this one titled Sharks, Fat Cats, and Other Whales. Let's listen to this one. that was fun. I think it's my favorite on the entire album, and by the way, the video is also quite entertaining. But where are the sharks, fat cats, and other whales? Tell us
Yeah,
about
it's basically about the super rich people who are basically together governing the world in some way somehow together. So they are making money, they're making businesses, not always in an ethical way. This is the story about that. So basically all this music in this tune is telling the story of people who are super incredibly wealthy, and they are creating the policy of the world today. Most of the titles of the songs on Dark Forecast album are connected somehow with the reality that we live in. It is just something that that makes you think about what's happening around, make you maybe question something that is delivered to you as an absolute truth. Maybe something in this is not an absolute truth, because there are certain people who are governing the information that we have. And this information not necessarily needs to benefit our need of knowing the truth. It can benefit the businesses they are running. So this is the tune about that. Basically, the music is more positive than negative, but the titles are about to make you think.
Well, the title is clearly suggestive of what you were saying. From the video, I didn't necessarily get that impression, but I agree clearly that it works on it impresses the imagination. Also, and that would be probably like a summary of our conversation. Let me quote a phrase from Jazz Forum magazine, where was a review of your album Dark Forecast by Mary Zimny. It's an example of extraordinary musicality of the players who, without refraining from fireworks, claptrap, are able to produce climate consisting of a very noble sound, diversity of textures, and richness of detail. And I subscribe to that opinion. I love that album. And well, sadly, we didn't touch on a couple of other recent, most notably a tribute to Tomasz Stanko, who clearly is one of your big heroes. And that is the album that is also very close to my heart. But I think we're running out of time. And
Yeah, I just wanted to say that if anyone wants to check out my music, you can do it both on streaming services like Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, iTunes, Amazon, and so on. As well on YouTube, where are a lot of high quality videos, and of course you can buy it or check or read about it and check out more on the website sjrecords.eu, which have a lot of great albums together with most of my albums over there.
which we didn't discuss because there's one more direction in your activities, and namely being a publisher, running own recording studio and publishing house.
Yeah, well, I'm more like an artistic director, choosing the albums that are nice enough to being worth of issuing. But we got some other people who's doing the paperwork. But yeah, it's very lucrative small issuing company with high quality jazz recordings. So sjrecords.eu, I recommend to you. Piotr Schmidt.
Yes, and I know the address. And by the way, and for the benefit of our viewers, all those links are in the credits under the YouTube video itself. So no problem, no difficulty finding all this. And we strongly recommend you venture there and take a benefit if you like the music that we've heard here. And thank you very much for your attention. Until next time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so
Piotr.
much.
Very
Thank you so much,
happy
Leszek.
to
Thank
have
you.
you on this program. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.